did blow that static account by doing one trade per day. Okay, losing like 4 days in a row. I would say that overall, you know, I feel like I don't want to say I feel like I was forcing trades, but I will say I do feel like I was not being aggressive enough for setups that were there, and then waiting too long and like screwing myself over. So this one, right? What did I do? Oh yeah, I sold here. Even though it was pretty strong uptrend. However, my idea was like it was a range, or you know, if you looked at the daily, it was kind of like going back and forth. So I figured this was going to be a good turnaround point with all this rejection at the top, and we kind of, you know, had a small up and down structure right there. It didn't work. Which, you know, if I'd sold where I got stopped out at, then hey, it would have worked. Which is also kind of a you know, something I note as a downfall of my like doing half an ATR is that sometimes you know, playing the stops too tight. However, if it was double, or if it was at ATR, then that trade, you know, even if I had sold where I was stopped, that would not have worked. So that's why I still continue to do the ATR thing. So there was that, right? Trending down, however, we reared back with a lot of momentum. I had a sell limit. Okay, not gonna lie, this was just lazy on my part. I wasn't paying attention. I just was like, I really feel like, you know, I've seen this setup before. This would be a good setup, and I had to go take care of something, and yeah, that did not work. Reminder for myself, perhaps wait for the pattern to emerge. Yeah, I mean, one thing that I will say weakness of mine is like looking at, like I have like maybe I do a back test, or I'll remember how the strategy went and then I'll get into it, and then it works for maybe a week. Like I'll have a good, like, oh yeah, this is a good week, and then it stops, you know, kind of working in the way I remember it to. And really it's about, you know, I think looking back on this, doing one trade a day allows you to focus on what you kind of did wrong and what you're looking for. So this right here, you know, if I'd waited, I would have seen this really nice channel and it's a pullback, and I could have actually found a good area to get in at. So didn't do that, but name of the game is patience for sure. It's just hard to be patient, which is why I end up like going back and forth these strategies, because then it works and then I get impatient and then it stops working, and then I want to do something else because I'm so impatient. And so patience is, you know, a thing. An area that could have worked, but I was late to the buy, ended up blowing the account. Yeah. Another thing, you know, this definitely could have worked. I think this candle right there actually ended up being like where it reversed from, but I was like, okay, trying to learn from yesterday's lesson, which was like, hey, be patient, look for a pattern. I was like, okay, we break out of a pattern, gonna break, you know, really. I mean, and honestly, it would have if I had bought at this little, like actually when this little red, not really hammerhead, but red whatever closed. I did not do that, so I ended up losing. However, it would have been a winner, and it just kind of blew the account. Well, actually, I had like 10 bucks left, but whatever. Bought a Bullnox account, and you know, again, same thing. I was, you know, this is where I looked at myself and said, okay, so like instead of just being like, oh, here's a pattern where we have a, you know, high, low, high, and then put a buy there, like even though this did kind of reject, it could have worked, it just didn't. You know, maybe be patient and wait for a better candle. However, maybe this one was, you know, maybe I would have in different circumstances this would have worked, but buying that green doji there, or green hammerhead, whatever you want to call it, didn't trade on Friday. Busy. I mean, going forward, I will say just the past 2 weeks, because we were really stuck in that range. You know, so there are some dumb decisions, but overall, I really got to be more patient. I think is the key takeaway here. Patient and actually just pay attention. You know, look for better rejections than just kind of trying to guess if it's gonna turn around right there. Because sometimes you win, sometimes you lose. But I think overall, it's been a bit of a losing strategy. I am gonna get into some building a portfolio of stocks, so I will probably make a video about that. Maybe, I don't know, find out. But anyway, that's all I've been able to take away and kind of learn. Which is like, oh yeah, no duh, Ethan, be more patient, but just really staying focused on that one trade a day, I think really does help keep you focused on what you need to improve and what's not working in your strategy and what you're trying to do. So I'm gonna go ahead and take that into account for the new week.